And good evening, good morning, good afternoon to wherever you're watching from here in the Philippines and from all over the world. And welcome to my podcast, the RJ Ledesma Podcast. In this podcast, I interview the country's pioneering business personalities and entrepreneurs to learn more about how they think about business, about doing new normal business, what are their success secrets, how can we replicate those secrets, and how have they innovated, pivoted, changed their businesses during this pandemic, and more importantly, what opportunities do they see emerging for fellow entrepreneurs during this, the now normal? Is there a business personality or entrepreneur that you would like me to interview here on the podcast? Please drop me a message. I would love to interview them. I would love to pick their brains. We are also live right now on Kumu, CBRC TV, Global Pinas TV, and the Bounce Back Network. If you are enjoying my podcasts and you've been learning a lot from it, please do subscribe and invite more friends to listen to the RJ Ledesma Podcast. You can also catch us on YouTube. Now, before we begin with this podcast, just a quick shout out to our friends from Vessel. Vessel PH can help you future-proof your businesses by boosting your digital presence and making sure that you can attract more customers and more sales. If you want to learn more about them, just click on the link in my description. Tonight, we've got a guest who's just recently come back from Dubai. They've had a very successful stint in Dubai to showcase their startup. And their startup is Tetrix. Tetrix is an interconnected ecosystem that aims to bridge the gap among all the different blockchain projects. So if you're somebody who is into blockchain, this is going to be a great show to listen to. If you're somebody who wants to learn about blockchain, this is also a great show that you'll want to listen to tonight. Now, instead of all the data being housed in one device, blockchains use networks of peer-to-peer connected computers and creates a unified community which allows for a more convenient environment for integration. Some products built on top of Tetrix are an app called Lobi, which is an end-to-end encrypted and built on a censorship-resistant peer-to-peer network. Another thing they built on top of Tetrix is Pitaka, which is a secure multi-chain and non-custodial wallet seamlessly integrated into it. Now, I know these terms can fly over the head, especially admittedly for myself, because a lot of these terms are new to many of us, especially who are interested to get into the field of crypto and blockchain. So this is an ideal jumping off point for all of you. So let's step into the future. Let's step into Tetrix, and let's welcome my guest, the CEO of Tetrix. We've got Emman Navalan. Emman, welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you for the invite, RJ. It's been a pleasure to be here and making people aware of what we do in Tetrix.
Thanks so much, Emman, for joining us over here. And you know what? We've got so many eager beavers listening to our program right now. I want to greet my friend from Singapore. We've got Michael Pe. Sabi ni Michael Pe, hello, Emman Navalan and RJ Ledesma. Hello from the Lion City over there. We've also got one of the co-founders of Tetrix listening in all the way from Pampanga, Felix Asuncion. Sabi niya, rainy evening, everyone watching from Pampanga. And we've got Jester James. Assalamualaikum. Hello, RJ, watching all the way from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It looks like you've got an international crew joining us and listening to us here live right now on the podcast. So, Emman, before we get into Tetrix, I know just I think a couple of days ago, just a couple of weeks ago, you guys had a very successful visit, sort of like a road trip, exposure trip in Dubai. Tell us a bit more about what you guys do in Dubai for Tetrix.
It was a really humbling experience for us. When we traveled there, our purpose was to really be having the company incorporated there, and at the same time visit one of our partners' booth and participate in the Future Innovation Summit. Once we went there, we didn't know that we will be able to meet different personalities in the
Mm-hmm.
space. We even met a lot of individuals who are willing to help us after
Wow.
they've met us for the first time, and that was really great and humbling. I mean, we always had with us one core value, I would say, or one core ideal, is that we wanted to always give value to others, and that way, deliver the message of what blockchain could be used for, and what blockchain is capable of providing for every one of us. And during the trip, we were able to meet some of the the famous personalities there, Filipinos included, and we were able to get advisors also from Dubai, and that we would announce in the near future. And aside from that, we were able to connect with a lot of exchanges, a lot of different blockchain projects as well, and that are willing to partner with us in the coming days. So yeah.
Fantastic. I like actually how you guys invested in your network, really. And that's key, especially in the in the emerging blockchain space, so your net, like we often say on the show, that your network is your net worth. And for those who are interested, you can't wait to check out what Tetrix is all about. We're flashing right now on screen, and if you're listening to the podcast, let me just announce the website for you. That's www.tetrix. That's tetrix.xyz. Again, that's tetrix.xyz. So now, Emma, let's get into the meat of things. No, when we often talk about people coming here to the show, I always ask them, what was their investors or elevator pitch for Tetrix? And I know that it might sound a bit complicated right now, but we will break it down later on as to what it means. But can you explain what was your elevator pitch for Tetrix?
Well, basically, Tetrix is an infrastructure network wherein it allows peers to actually communicate with different blockchain projects. So this is not currently available in a solution-based project or product because of the reason that some of them are really nascent. So we decided to create an all-encompassing protocol that will allow the communication between different blockchains, and then making more opportunities available for everyone. So that's basically what Tetrix is all about. It's basically just building on top of each other and creating more projects together and building a more solid foundation in the blockchain space.
Okay, from listening to you, there are people who are going, "Wow, that's a great solution." And from the others are going, "What did you just talk about?" I mean, that's basically the two types of people listening here right now. But if I were to try to laymanize it a bit, it just means that uh, you put, like, everybody was playing on different fields, and you just put together one field where you can all one person, sort of like one box where they can all play in together, where they can access what everybody else is doing. And that's basically what you did with Tetrix. Is that correct? If I were to simplify things.
Precisely, because currently what other projects or blockchain projects are doing is that they're building their own ecosystem. Well, the very nature of blockchain in the first place is that it should be all inclusive, and that started from Satoshi, who started building Bitcoin in the early 2007 and 8. So we decided to bring back those ideals, or the reason why blockchain is currently present. And we saw the opportunity there. Wherein, there are a lot of bridge projects out there, but they really doesn't solve the main issues. They only solve a few issues at one time, and they couldn't do 2 to 3 issues at the same time. So we
That.
decided to allow them to actually explore the space, given our modular approach.
Let me just greet some of the people coming right now. We got Felix, Nino, Asuncion. Good evening, guys. Greeting us here right now. We also have over here people saying, John Mayani, saying very excited. He said, Sir Felix Shicks here, sabi niya. He's here right now listening to us. Now, I'm gonna go a bit more. You were able to explain, I guess, in broad strokes what it is, no? Kunyari, yung tatay ko na 78 years old at gusto maintindihan kung anong ginagawa ninyo dyan. What exactly, how would I explain that to my dad? Who, blockchain is not even something that is in his periphery, di ba?
All right, let's start off basically, siguro a bit of a history of blockchain. So,
okay, so again, for the people listening right now, this is your blockchain education 101. Sige, ano bang ibig sabihin mo na ng blockchain? So, for those who know, great for you. Maybe this is another way for you to be able to explain to your other friends what blockchain is. But then, sige, Emman, school us right now.
All right, so blockchain is basically one of the DLT, so we call, or decentralized ledgers. It's a form of basically collecting data and transferring data it's a protocol basically, or a framework on how the data is collected and transferred between different channels.
Okay.
So it's like the internet basically. It's the usual, let's say TCP/IP, but it's made different. And the difference between the TCP/IP and blockchain is the structure on how it stores the data and makes sure that it is secure and it's immutable. So those are
Ano ibig sabihin immutable? Anong ibig sabihin ng immutable sa mga magandang vocabulary na yan, immutable?
So it's something that you couldn't change moving forward in time. So once it's there permanently. And once you try to change it, it's going to be another transaction. So they could actually see whoever it is that is changing the data, and at the same time, whoever it is that approved the data as well. So this can come in many forms. It can be used for your transactions. It can be used in your day-to-day communication. And it could also be used in some contracts, or I would say agreement between two parties as well, wherein you could actually trace back, ito yung mga pinag-usapan natin dati, and these are the changes that we have then put in play. So
so for example, just to give an example, diba, sabi mo there's TCP/IP, which is what we're used to with the internet, and then there's blockchain. So parang use case, like you said, no, one of the use is a contract. Let's say for example, what would have happened if it's a case na TCP/IP lang yan, sa internet lang yan, pero contract sa blockchain? What is the key difference now? That they're doing now. This is the advantage of the blockchain over what we're used to.
You can just send different contracts of different, I would say content. That would be the case there, and you wouldn't be able to track which is right and which is false. So those are the things that blockchain can do, because it is actually hashed, it's secured, and at the same time you could actually see the difference through time. So
kumbaga parang it's like a editable document, right? Sometimes you can't tell who's making the changes in the past. You could not tell. In other words, you could have gotten a document, somebody edited the document, and you wouldn't know. But if your document is on the blockchain, you know exactly what the first original document was, and you know who was editing it on the way. It can never be changed. It's immutable. Is that right?
Yes. And these are all bite-sized data. That's why, to explain it even further, blockchain is just a combination of block and chain, wherein the block is a collection of the data, and the chain is basically the encryption, wherein it is going to be secured. So every time that you create another set of data, what it does is it captures the previous block or the previous data, it brings it to the new block, and it adds on the new data into it. So in effect, what will happen is you have this history of changes or history of the data, that becomes your ledger, I would say, or your compilation of information. So
Got that.
that's
Got that.
how it works. And there are different approach to this. And another layer of protection that we say is the decentralization of the blockchain. So you have this blockchain that's, usually it could be, centralized, and most of it is actually decentralized now. But it could be both ways. It could be a centralized in a centralized data bank, or it could be decentralized in a way that it is actually sent to different peers in the network for copies, to make sure that once your computer is compromised, you'd be shut down and they would feed the right information. So that's the second layer there of protection. Again, Web3 is actually, in layman's term, secures whatever you're doing, but at the same time, these things, are sometimes a bit complicated for normal users. And you could actually feel it when you try to transact in the space. There is a required time for them to transact, and that is actually because of the reason that it's being checked and being secured, being delivered, and at the same time sent to different people in the network for security. So that's the time there are blockchains that takes around a few minutes for it to be able to send the message or the transaction or the data. Some of them do it faster. It really depends on the framework and how the network operates. So, yeah.
Okay.
So I
And
think
you were, yeah, continue. Yeah, please feel free.
I think we can share about what Tetrix is doing in a different way. If
Okay.
we could just flash on the website. Well,
Yeah.
uh, basically Tetrix is in a way wanted to simplify how this framework occurs or happens. No, we wanted that, in a way, if your data is already validated, you could actually send that to different platforms, which is currently not available. And for you to be able to do it, you would have to, partner with a different blockchain network, connect to their existing platform. That takes time, and you would have to pay a lot for it. So Tetrix wanted to eliminate that, make it very simple for new projects and existing projects, wherein they wanted to jump from their network to another network. So that's currently not available. And as we see, there are present issues with existing networks, as shown in the recent dip of the market. One is being Luna, and the other one, of course, the delayed ETH 2.0. So, yeah, in a way, Tetrix would help bridge that problem, allow them to still work on their existing project and connect it to different blockchain networks to capture the market there. Because as I've said, in each of the ecosystems, they have their own market. And for you to penetrate the different ecosystem, you would have to build your project there again. So Tetrix, in a way, allows you to do it in a much effective and much efficient manner, wherein you could just transfer the information back and forth from different blockchain networks. Yeah,
Okay. I want to stop you right there before we get a bit more complicated, though, because people are wondering,
right.
wow, how did how does it go, how does it get there? But then right now, I wanna go step back a bit more, and let's stop sharing the screen, Muna Clark, if you don't mind. Um, Emman, I want to go a bit more before we discuss Tetrix. I think the more interesting thing is I want to find out a bit more about your background as to how you got into it.
Yes.
Because from what I understand, no, from your own background, you're actually a civil engineer, diba? And then how did this project come? How did you from that project get into doing Tetrix or get into the blockchain? And more importantly, how did you uncover this opportunity, and how are you able to address it? I mean, these are several things. I know it's a long story, but I think it's key to understand the entrepreneurial journey. Para it informs us moving forward, di ba? How did this all come
Correct.
about for you? So let's start muna. Okay, civil engineer. I know that you have your own construction firm, right? I mean, that's enough of a challenge for you. So how did it move forward to get into this one? So give us a bit more of your background.
Previously, when I started trading Bitcoin, that was around 2016. That's when MetaMask came out.
You
It
have
was
to
the
explain a
first
bit more.
market
Sige, let's go step back for the first timers again.
so
Anong ibig sabihin ng MetaMask again?
all right. So MetaMask is a wallet. It's basically where you could store your Bitcoin at that time. And there were a lot of different wallets back then. The first two projects that came out to be strong was, of course, Bitcoin, and the other one is Ethereum. And Ethereum initiated what we so call smart contracts now, wherein it allows you to generate any condition and build that on top of blockchain. But uh, MetaMask at the time, during that time, we were always doing trading. No, we weren't doing a lot of um, infrastructure things and projects. There were quite a few, but most of them were just making and maximizing the opportunity of the market to make money. So when I started out, um, I also was scammed, you know,
Because you
because
were
of
at the start you were scammed. Okay, so that's one of the
I wasn't
many
really
people.
aware.
Many people who talk about who come on the show on crypto. Basically, they have the same, almost a variation of the same story. Nasa scam sila, di ba? Nung una.
Yes, it's either rug pull or a scam, right?
Oh.
During that time, there was only a limited slot for you to actually trade. So, CoinsPH was also new at the time, and I wasn't able to get in, and that's why I tried MetaMask. And when I tried MetaMask, it was a good experience, and then came an opportunity wherein I could earn more. So, me being very young at that time, I tried it out, and of course, it was a scam. And after that, I started reading about the project. Sometimes nga for traders, what they usually say is that it's your tuition fee, right? Once you lose money because you're not doing your due diligence. So I did my due diligence. While I was studying and reading about projects and different projects, how they operate, because I'm a civil engineer myself and a project manager, I really look into the structure and wanted to simplify things for my consumption. I didn't realize that it's very complicated and nobody would really understand it at one glance. Nobody, even any tech guy. So I talked to a few tech guys, uh, my partners included, Rap, during 2018, and I started talking about this is blockchain, this is crypto. I think we could do something about this in the space in our uh, industries. So I was looking at an opportunity wherein it could connect to the construction industry at back. And since we were also gamers at that time, we usually play for relaxation. uh, During the time that we were playing, we usually talk about crypto, blockchain, Bitcoin, Ethereum, stuff like that, and the opportunity that it could give to normal people. And from there, we started to analyze the different projects that we wanted to buy at first. So we were just traders talaga. We just wanted to buy tokens, and we wanted to keep it and hold it until it, goes to the moon, so we call all the time. Diba? So after some time during the pandemic, we realized that a lot has changed and a lot of things really progressed well, especially in the tech industry. And we saw that the Philippines, when Axie came out, we saw the opportunity wherein Filipinos are great users. No? We have this big user base that we always wanted to participate in things like this, but there's not really something that we can build something on. It's always us being end users. So we decided to conceptualize an idea wherein we could take part in different networks and at the same time uh, make people aware of what blockchain is capable of. And while we were doing the architecture, we realized one big thing: people are not adopting it because they see use in the blockchain. They actually are adopting it still for the money. And while we were internalizing this, we realized that the reason that's why the reason why they're doing this is because that's how they were educated in the first place. That Bitcoin cryptocurrencies is where you will earn 10 times your money, 20 times, 100 times your money if you're lucky. And it's not the way we wanted it to be, wherein you're educated on how it's working and at the same time how it could give value to you in whatever you do at the same time. So at first it was really hard because we were really looking into a lot of things. So we called in different people. We asked someone uh, from our list of friends and asked them to actually join us to conceptualize the idea and bring it to a better, clear uh, picture. And so we called in three more partners. We called in four more. We even brought in a lawyer to make sure that we are doing things right. So we started all of the conceptualization and eventually incorporated something last year. So that's when we started to really build the DApps and Tetrix. And
Okay.
it was actually a realization to whatever happened in our lives.
Okay. I really like how things started to crystallize amidst this pandemic, and I think if I don't correct me if I'm wrong, no, we actually had Nick Siniego, who was the representative of Sky Mavens of Axie Infinity over here on the show a couple of shows ago, no, and he did explain that what it did inadvertently, yung Axie Infinity, is to get more people to understand what crypto does. So it became a convergence of that opportunity. Then you saw, pwede pala dito. But the education, I mean, just to summarize it, but you're realizing that people are just thinking of it purely from a crypto or how to make money standpoint. But you saw it more like we can create more projects here. We can create more uses for the blockchain here in the country, and that's exactly what you're doing, using Tetrix, no. But before we get into that a bit more, I have a couple of questions. So, if you don't mind, no, a bit of definition of terms because this is the first time for many people to listen to what you're trying to say. Earlier on, you talked about the idea of you got scammed, and another word that you use for scam is you got rug pulled. What does it mean by rug pull?
So rug pull is, in a way, it's a term used when after you get listed in an exchange, it pumps so high, and then someone sells, heavily from the top, and it goes back down, and it goes lower than the expected amount. So this is where the early purchasers benefit from, usually, but the early people who bought it from exchanges are now uh, holding into assets that are lower in value when they started. So that's where I think most of the people are feel discouraged about blockchain and crypto. During those times when projects get listed and then they try to ride the trend and then it falls down below their price and they don't set their limits. So these are for casual traders who just came in and just want to participate, try things out because they're thinking that you would get 10x your money, 100x, and so on and so forth. Realizing that it's the opposite if you weren't really careful. So rug pull is a term wherein when it goes up, it just drastically falls down uh, to around 80 to even 90% from the top. So
Okay, so like literally like the rug got pulled from under you. So just that's rug pull,
yes,
diba?
yes,
Okay. Uh, and
yes.
then when you say the apps, you mean decentralized apps, right? That's correct, no? Can you explain again for the benefit of those watching right now? What does the apps mean, naman? What does decentralized apps mean?
Right. So it's basically all applications built on blockchain or Web3. So that's the basic explanation to that. So once your blockchain is built on a layer of blockchain or Web3 in a Web3 platform or protocol, it's automatically called decentralized app. So that's how we actually call applications on top of Web3.
Got that. And then there's another term which we used earlier on, which is DeFi, which is decentralized finance. Now, can you, since we're talking about the apps, let's talk about DeFi. Can you explain that a bit more as well?
So this is almost the same to the apps. So it's just basically the finance sector. Anything that you do currently right now, the finance sector, and bring that over to Web3 in a decentralized manner. It's automatically called DeFi. So this could be an exchange. This could be loans. This could be, lending. This could be even utilizing your money to buy something, or using your cryptocurrency to buy something, and basically everything in the financial system that we have that you wanted inside the Web3 space. It's going to be called DeFi. So yeah.
Okay. Now, one more question which I have now, and I think this is might be of interest to people right now, is that you were able to quickly, in the midst of this pandemic, you were able to actually build Tetrix, and it is all online. I mean, the next question I have is, of course, like any entrepreneur in whatever business, diba? I have the idea, but I might not have the technical expertise to build that idea, right? That's just my assumption with you. You're a civil engineer. Maybe you do have the expertise. You learned it, but then you don't have all the expertise. And earlier on in the show, we talked about your net worth is your net worth. How did you build I guess, your network to ensure that when you had that idea to create Tetrix, that you would have sort of like the human resources to be able to construct Tetrix?
Right. So when I started this, I always wanted to start off understanding my limitation. So that's the first for everybody wanting to start in the space. You must understand your limitation. At the same time, you must accept that you would need somebody else to compensate that for you. So realizing that from the very start and starting it with the right culture, I would say, culture of giving value first, and realizing that that value is actually worth more to to them, than to you, actually brought this team together. And when we started off, when we started talking to the partners, that was the first pitch, right? When we started to talk about, this is what we wanted to happen. We would like you to join us and participate and be with us. We understood that we have this limitation within the partners, and we wanted that to be compensated by someone who shared the same value, same culture that we have, because this is something that we would need radiating from the team, so that the community, since this is a community platform and Web3 is all about community, it must come from us. So these small things actually aggregated, and it actually multiplied, uh, and that's the reason why the team really grew faster than expected. Actually, I was really shocked about what's happening right now currently, by the growth of the team, and what we're able to accomplish. And at the same time, our trip in Dubai really showcased that what we're doing, aside from the tech, really brought us here. So yeah, that's first. And for the early founders, you must understand first and foremost what you're dealing with. So you have to read, constantly read. This is not something that we were able to do in a few weeks time, a few months time. No, we were studying about blockchain and cryptocurrencies for years. We were reading about this in our free time, until such time that we were really confident that we are creating something in what we are planning, things that we are trying to prove as well. So until you get that confidence, you keep on reading about, and ask the right people, ask the tech guys, ask the people who are already in the space, ask your friends. They might know a few things. They could share that to you and maybe shed light to you, and that eventually you could again make use of, and
Okay.
form your team the right way.
Uh, Really great question. Really great things coming out here on, again, on our chat box. I want to say again, like Michael Navalan saying here, study before you invest, especially, I guess that's if you go into cryptocurrency over there. Let's pick that comment up, Clark. No, study before you invest. And over here, very nice also coming from Ishko Abakita. Always do your due diligence. One tip that will make you survive in this space. I guess that's something we can all agree on. And what I like over here is from JC Calvento, who earlier on said, good evening. This is something new and definitely innovative for Pinoys as a whole, which I strongly agree with. And we've got also Jay Tolentino saying, hey, hey, hey. Yeah, Jay, kumusta? Thanks so much for listening to us here right now. Okay, so more or less we've got the idea. And my presumption is that many people that you got on board when you first brought them on board were people whom you already met in the crypto community. Is that right? Or at least in the blockchain community. That's how you're able to onboard them much faster. Tama ba ako dyan, Emman?
Yeah, most of them were, and but some of them weren't. So the good thing was we were really educating, and then some of them realized that they could play a role, and they could
Mm-hmm.
actually help the project. So it's basically just giving value there. And then from there we started educating ourselves first, the team, and then from there we started educating others. So
Okay.
when we were hiring, we always make sure that before they onboard, we educate them well, make sure that they're really well versed uh, before we let them out, because basically it's something that we want to happen to our users, and of course the people who would support us, and the people who would help us also. So
So,
yeah.
got that. And so, again, we're going to discuss a bit more about Tetrix, but more, we're going to discuss now about the other projects being done on Tetrix. So, just to make things clear, it's like saying, okay, you were all playing Lego in different areas. Let's say you're all playing Lego. So, what you did is basically you got one big Lego sheet and put all the different pieces on that same Lego sheet. So you could interconnect all the different Lego pieces and you could play with the Lego in this one Lego sheet. That's correct again, Emman. Just using another analogy for you guys. And that's
Yeah.
what Tetrix is all about. That you can all play on the same sheet of Lego and interconnect all your Lego pieces together on this sheet. Now, uh, once that was done, no, this is what Tetrix is about. It's an interconnection. Can I just ask, when you build this platform of Tetrix, people always want to go back to the idea again of what's the business model now? Paano kayo kumikita ng pera dito, di ba? From putting up Tetrix.
So, well, I'd like to start first and foremost. I forgot to mention why Tetrix came out. No, so the name Tetrix, Tetrix came out because of what you said. No, it's almost the same because of the game Tetris. No,
Oh,
so the
Tetris.
game
Oh,
Tetrix actually, what happens is you fill in the gaps there for you to finish the level. So in a way, those blocks, those different types of blocks are actually representations of you and I or everybody else,
mhm.
wherein we complement each other and basically, finish off the level. And that's what we wanted to also showcase with the network that we're building. And for the revenue side, it is also how we will earn when we connect, or once you use a platform, there are fees that are connected to it, and those fees are actually going to be paid to the participants who are making sure that Tetrix is alive and able to communicate the different data that we are transferring. And at the same time, the different projects that are built on top of Tetrix network would then be required TET tokens. And this is going to be in form of crypto, of course. That's our cryptocurrency. And that is also going to be paid for every transaction. So that's going to be so minimal comparing that to the others. The reason why we did that way, because we wanted to get more users in, and of course that would compensate to the small fees.
Got
So
that.
that's how we are going to operate, and for participants to make sure that the network is secure, they would have to stake that tokens as well. So this is some sort of a collateral then for the network. So you wouldn't do any malicious activities. You wouldn't, hack somebody else, or if you're running a node, you wouldn't do something malicious in that aspect. So yeah, that's basically how
Okay,
we move about.
got that. So just to kind of simplify the terminology, are you doing? It's not a subscription model to be able to use Tetrix. People don't pay every month to use Tetrix, but there's a convenience fee that you pay to be able to make sure that you can interconnect every time with somebody else's
Yes,
Lego, with somebody else's Lego. You have with somebody
yes,
else's Lego structure on that Lego sheet. Every time you connect with that one, there's a convenience fee that is being paid, right?
yes,
And
yes.
it's also saying like every time you build on that Lego sheet a new project, you're also paying for the real estate that you're using in that area because
Precisely,
you're
precisely.
building on the area. Is that correct so far for me? To is the understanding correct so far?
Yes, yes, and in a way, it's also a pay per use. So you just pay whatever you use. So
Okay.
it's not going to be something that is going to eat you alive, especially for startups, right? So those are the things that we also should consider.
Mm-mm. And having done this one, no, especially, and then helping other people who or startups as well. Um, since you're building all of this one, diba? Uh, how are you basically financing the development of the app? Is this all bootstrapped? And again, for people who are hearing the word bootstrap, ibig sabihin lang yan is that you're burning your own pockets to put up the app, diba? How are you doing it here, right? How are you putting up Tetrix right now?
We started off bootstrapping the project. So that was last year, and since we were able to come up with proof of concepts and MVPs in Pitaka, we were able to get a few angels that are now supporting us. And with that, we're actually thanking basically our angels who have supported us. And we're talking to a few more who are willing to actually help us as well. So that's how we move about. It's something that, as a startup, we must really understand that you have to sacrifice a lot of things, and by bootstrapping, we really sacrifice a lot of our resources personally, the whole team, to start the project right, and to showcase that we are going to do a project wherein we already have something to show, and at the same time showcase our credibility in the space before getting or bringing in angel investors or somebody else to
Got
invest in
that.
us.
Got that. So talagang burning a hole muna before pwede mo
Yes,
itahin na lang mamaya yung butas na yan. Ah.
yes,
Now, so now we've got this your Lego playing field, diba? So this is the Lego playing field, and you are now yourselves. You're also building the apps on top of that field, right? On top your own apps out of Tetrix. You're building your own apps there, and if I understand correctly, there's two that you're doing right now, diba? That's Pitaka, and that's also Lobi. Is that correct?
yes, yes, precisely. Actually, Pitaka and Lobi are the apps that we call aggregators for Tetrix network. So, in a way, these are stepping stones for us. One of the things that, or I would say three things that these D apps allow us to do is, first and foremost, create traction. Second is make them aware that there's a project that is simplified. So that's in a way credibility for us. And third is for us to raise funds. So usually a network takes around 2 to 3 years or even more for it to be developed correctly. And for us to sustain ourselves or bootstrap the whole 3 years or 2 years of the process would really, um, burn us alive. Uh, and it's something that we wouldn't want to happen. So we wanted to showcase our credibility and, of course, grow the user base, make them aware that we have Tetrix, and it's something that they must look into, and they could support as well. And from there, build the network at the right pace, so that eventually we are going to build something that would last, and that's something that people would then eventually use, not
Oh.
something that once we're done, there are no users, there are no applications, there are no participants, and so on and so forth. So, yeah.
So, guys, so parang, kumbaga, it's the way to look at it. And if you don't mind, I'll use my market as a way to,
Yes,
to
yes,
prove it. No, it's a Mercato Central, which is an outdoor food market. It's like I build a market, but right now to prove that it works, I've got to have vendors who are operating in the market, diba? And sometimes some of these vendors, I have to create my own vendors or have a really successful one because they go, oh, marami pa ng tao dyan na kumakain dyan, di ba? So papasok ka na sa market, makikita nila, oy, may iba't yung project pala dito, di ba? Parang may ibang mga merchants dito, then dito rin ako kakain, kukuha ako dito. So it's almost the same idea. You have to sort of
yes,
do a proof of concept inside your Lego playing field to say, para po dumami yung mga tao, I've got to have some legitimate projects which people can find over here inside Tetrix, correct?
yes, yes. And in a way, it also becomes now our flywheel. So we started develop a project, and then afterwards bring in the users, get the funding, and then build another project, and so on and so forth, while we build the Tetrix network. So
Got it,
that's
got it.
how we are doing the cycle that we have.
It makes it sticky. Perfect. It's the word. It makes it sticky.
Yes,
The people get to
yes,
stay over there. We've got
yes.
Garrett Lee saying over here, really nice, commenting over here. Tetrix is a cool project and has awesome partners. And he also said over here, yeah, that's the first comment. Tetrix is a cool project and has awesome partners. And the second one is Tetrix and 8chain are really great innovations in the crypto space. Guys, keep it up. Thanks so much, Garrett, for commenting that. Now, let's move on to uh, talk a bit more about Pitaka, because now, okay, so you were able to solve one pain point, which was creating a playing field where everybody interconnected with Tetrix. Now, what is the pain point? I know that it was as an aggregator. That's why you created Pitaka. But what is the pain point aside from being that one? What is the pain point that you wanted to address in creating Pitaka on
All
Tetrix?
right. All right. So, for a normal trader like me, who started navigating the space way back 2016, it was everything was really nascent. So it was really hard to set up your wallet. So if you are going to download MetaMask now and some of the other wallets, it would take you around a minimum of 5 to 10 minutes to set up. Some
Mhm.
are faster. Some you may do it around 2 to 3 minutes. But that Pitaka, we designed it in a way that once you set it up, it's just it's as if you're just adding features into it. So you just click on whatever you need, and you could
It's like
actually see all your
toggle on, toggle on, toggle off,
yes,
toggle on.
yes,
Okay.
yes. It's something like that. So uh, one of the few things that we kept into mind was, of course, how are these going to affect uh, daily users? So for traders, that was one of their concerns. Every time that they wanted to trade in a different network, they would have to set up a different network in their wallet for them to really navigate and trade. And that's one. Second is for game users, GameFi and NFT participants. They're having a hard time finding their assets. So what do? They actually connect all their wallets, and it's really a tedious job for them just to locate where their assets are. And this is something that we simplified, wherein once you connect your wallet or you log into your wallet, your Pitaka, you could actually see all your assets already there. So you just have to look into, okay, this is the NFTs tab, and this is the DeFi tab, and this is actually the tokens tab. And you could click on to different blockchain networks, as you've said, toggle on and off, and you could see all the assets immediately there. So you wouldn't need to actually do the setting up and the checking whatever account so that you could find your precious asset or NFT. So those are the things that we kept in mind, and those were the real pain points for every individual looking into the best wallet out there. So yeah, that's
And
basically it.
how do you make money from putting up the wallet? Is it also a convenience fee?
Right now, the wallet is just for free. So we do promotions inside the wallet. So that's how we keep the project up and running. So we can feature tokens there. We can feature projects there. We can feature partnerships there. So that's how we get the funding to actually build it further and improve it. But basically, the wallet is free of use. You actually just pay, not on our side, but when you once you transact, you just pay the transaction fee of the network,
Of
not
the network.
of Pitaka and of
So
Tetrix,
so
not of Tetrix.
It's Tetrix who benefits. Is that correct? Or it's
Not really, but it's the other networks. The Ethereum, if you're dealing with
okay.
Ethereum tokens, or if you're dealing with Binance tokens, Binance gonna benefit from that because the transaction is done through their blockchain. It's not really
Okay.
through Tetris blockchain. So we just capture all of your assets in different blockchain networks and showcase that into the Pitaka wallet app. So that's how we do it. We just summarize and simplified it for users. And then from
So
there, our goal is to
okay.
actually grow the users, grow lagi
Okay, so
users.
so the way that so it's I please correct me if I'm wrong. It's not really Pitaka that's making the money from there. It's just a way to attract people to use Tetrix.
Yes, it is a way, and at the same time, it allows us to showcase what we're capable of.
I
So
see.
now Filipinos could be proud that we have Pitaka, and Pitaka is actually built by people who dreamt of building something for the Philippines and for the region. So it's something to be proud of.
Got that. A comment from Waki Aquino over here. I love how Pitaka can stand out to other crypto wallets out there. Thanks so much for the vote of confidence over there, Waki. We also have another one that you're creating, which is called Lobi, Lobi. Ano naman yung Lobi?
So we saw a need for projects to be built on top of Tetrix also. Like any other ecosystem, we have to also have our own ecosystem to sustain ourselves. We don't just rely on different blockchains communicating, so we have our own. And this would benefit the future projects like enterprise use cases. So one of the reasons that we saw that are key to general adoption or mass adoption is that we must bring in Web 2 applications into Web 3. And the reason why they're not jumping into Web 3 is because there is no network out there that allows you to be flexible. Most of them are actually permissionless. And this is one of the feature that aside from proof of work that spends a lot of energy, uh, this permissionless feature, meaning to say everything is visible, is something that the enterprise wouldn't want to use. So the reason behind that is for banks, for example. Let's look into banks. Banks wouldn't want to see to allow us individuals to see their transactions, the magnitude of their transactions moving from one bank to another, and at the same time their transfer of data. So that's one pain point. And aside from that, for usual businesses, you wouldn't want your competitors to see what you're doing. That's actually
Mhm.
making you very successful, right? So in a way, you want that to be a leverage over them, so you would continuously be successful in what you do. And these are the things that we saw we can uh, solve having our network, because our layer allows you to create your own blockchain network, and at the same time that's catered to you, and connect that to other blockchain networks out there. So now you wouldn't need to build your project on top of Ethereum, wherein you're already set to the limitations there. It should be permissionless, it should be this, it should be that. So you can now be creative, and at the same time uh, build whatever it is you want to build. So for Lobby, uh, to bridge the gap between users and the enterprise, we decided to create a social D app called Lobby, where early uh, users could communicate and transfer cryptocurrencies. So this is where you could send assets to your friends without toggling different applications.
Mhm.
So this is hard to do. One of the reasons why we wanted this done is that we wanted to get away from, what if I copy paste the wrong public address? Diba? Every time you have a wallet, there's this code. There's this alphanumeric code
Code.
there.
Oh.
That's so long that once you copy
Make a
paste it
mistake.
and
Oh.
made a mistake, well, basically your assets, if there's such a wallet out there, your assets are gone, diba? And to get away with that, we decided to create a social D app wherein you could actually communicate and verify uh, if that's the person you're dealing with, all right, or transacting with. So that way, we also are going to add more features into it, wherein you could create your early themes. So you could start communicating there as you see usually done in lobbies or hotels, right? That's where you
Mhm.
communicate, you close projects, you discuss about ideas, stuff like that. So that's where we got the name. And that's what we're doing inside the app. So since Web3 is all about communicating online, doing it online, stuff like that online. So we decided to bridge that. And at the same time, since they're doing the project, the early conceptualization of their project inside Lobby, we would promote them, using Tetrix and building their project on top of Tetrix eventually. So We also profit from there, by the way, because transaction and fees. When you use the application, there are a few fees there in place. So that's how we generate more revenue for us.
Got that. And so basically, those are the first two of the apps that you're developing on your Tetrix platform. And Sunny Katakutan over here is commenting, love to see our own young Filipino digital innovators compete with the world's best. Proud of you, Emman and Felix. Thanks so much, Sunny. And for those of you right now, if you're piquing your interest about Tetrix, no, let's pull up briefly, Emman over here, the Tetrix website, so people can see more or less what they can do. Let's navigate it for them just a bit, so that they know, for the first timers or for people who are interested, they know what to do. And just to let you all know, Clark, let's flash the website again on screen. That's www.tetrix.xyz. Again, www.tetrix.xyz. Can you just take us across the website here right now? Give us a bird's eye view of how it works.
All right. So once you type in tetrix.xyz, you'll go to this page, and it describes, the summary of what we do. Well, if you want to read more about the project, you could click on to white paper. And if you're one of those who wanted to support the project as an early supporter by helping us funding a project, you could actually click on whitelist. So as you drag your screen down, you would see three main focus of the project right now. We're looking into building our developers, our set of developers, since we have projects that would entail a lot of development. So if you're a developer who wants to support the project, you could click on the developers tab. If you're somewhat of an investor who wants to also support us, you could click on the investor tab. And if you're a user who would want to venture and check our products and services and utilize it for your different uses, of course, you may click on to the users, and it will drag you to the products page. So if you click onto the developers, you can click on to develop with Tetrix. Basically, these are just a summary of what we're trying to accomplish.
Mhm.
And if you want to sign up, you can click on develop with Tetrix. So, and just navigate the page there. Moving on to the next, if you're an investor, these are the utilities of the tokens. We issue tokens to our early supporters, and it will be used in this different features that we will eventually maximize on once the network is up. So you could use it for voting for whatever project that we are going to be doing moving forward. You could actually use it as part of your stake for um, for dealing with the project. And at the same time, we discuss about the supply and the token utility that we are uh, making use of in the network. So once you click on to the last one, which is the users, you'll be dragged to the DApps that we're trying to build. So we have Pitaka, we have Lobi here, but the one running already is Pitaka. So
Mhm.
once you click on Pitaka, you'd be dragged to the website or to this page. And once you click on to download, you'll be dragged to pitaka.io. So let me just bring you there
Mhm.
because this is the product. The product. So once you're there at Pitaka, you just download. For now, what is available is Pitaka as a browser extension, and you could download it for Chrome and Brave. You could also participate in our discussions. So just click on join the discussion to see the latest updates about the project, about Pitaka. And at the same time, there is this video presentation on how you could set up your Pitaka wallet and start your Web3 journey. So if you have any concerns, questions, you could look into the frequently asked questions or FAQ tab. And if there are things that you need to be clarified, you could go back to our social media platforms and communicate it with us. So that way we could help you and educate you in the potential of Pitaka Wallet and Tetrix at the same time.
That's right. A
So
lot
yeah, I
of
think
sort A lot to observe, guys, but don't worry. The first step is just visit the website, www.tetrix.xyz, and they've got some simplified explanations of all these different things. But just like Emman was saying earlier on, nothing beats a good research and reading into the topic. It's not something which they were able to learn in a couple of days or even a couple of weeks. It took years of gaming and talking about it during gaming, where there's an appreciation and actually experiential. The experiential nature of cryptocurrency was what allowed them to create this one here right now. Now, Emman, I know there's a lot more to talk, and I wish we had more time here on the show to talk about both Tetrix and, of course, Pitaka and Lobi in depth. But I want to step back a bit more, and if you can pull out the screen right now, Clark. Emman, you're a young entrepreneur. You've been into construction, which is your own company. It's doing really great. You founded your own DApps. You founded your own. You founded Tetrix at the same time, and I'm sure that there's a lot of great life and business lessons that you've gained over this period of time, and which you have to crunch, we have to accelerate, especially during this time. What are the 3 life and business lessons that you want to share with up and coming entrepreneurs here right now, who are playing both in brick and mortar spaces and also like you in the digital space?
I think I just go back to the 3 things I pointed out earlier. One is you must understand first and foremost your limitations and act upon it. Because if you don't act upon it, you don't expect others to do it for you. That's first and foremost. So you wouldn't earn money just by doing that. Second is, as you've said, use your network as your network. So that's something that I also utilize, and I utilize it in a different way. It's by building and radiating the culture that they want to happen. Is it's just giving value. So if you're a business owner and you start off by asking immediately, this is what my rate is, this is something that I want to charge you already, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
That's something that is going to eventually drag you somewhere where you wouldn't want.
Parang
And for
naging
all
parang naging transactional na, no? Hindi naging relationship based.
transactional,
Parang
yes, yes,
it's the value that you bring. And I remember somebody used to tell me, you know what? If you're able to first agree on a principle, di ba? Everything else will follow, di ba? But if it's money first, parang medyo, especially for things like this, medyo mahirap, di ba?
it is, it is. And lastly, of course, um, just keep the ball rolling. You don't stop. Once you get there, like for example, we were able to finish off Pitaka. We don't stop. We just try to build something more, something better. We improve on the existing ones, because we understand that we have to be ahead one way or another. We are doing a lot of catching up with other projects, and in order for us to make it there, we must strive harder. We must push harder than they are doing. And you could do this in multiple ways. You could do this by working efficiently or working hard. So I think those are the 3 things that one must keep in mind for them to be successful in anything that they do, maybe business or their family. So yeah.
Thanks so much. Michael Peck commenting over here. Game changer yung Tetrix at Pitaka. And Garrett Lee again commenting, making visions reality. And again, I want to close this out by showing what Georgina Lopez is showing here right now. For those again who haven't visited yet the page and are curious, no? That's Tetrix is www.tetrix.xyz, or you can also visit Pitaka right now. That's www.pitaka.io. So again, thank you so much. Thank you so much again, Emman, for guesting here on the show. Again, thanks to Ralph Du. Thanks so much to Felix over here. Thanks so much to Mike. And thanks so much to all the board of advisors of Tetrix and Pitaka for making this possible. Really great to showcase Filipino ingenuity here to the world, and how we're able to really show, like Michael Navalan said, we have Pitaka, the last crypto wallet you'll ever need. Guys, check it out here right now. And if you got more great concepts, just like you're seeing here right now from Pitaka, please let me know. And Tetrix, we'd love to feature them here in the show. Again, Emman, good luck on the journey. We're with you here all the way. And thanks so much, guys. Thanks for joining me for the RJ Ledesma Podcast. We will see you in our next podcast. Thanks so much, guys. Emman, stay around for a bit.